Let's talk backstory a little bit first. You're from Michigan originally. What brought you to Los Angeles, and what influence has the city had on your sound since you moved here?
Yeah, I flew to Los Angeles 2 years ago in March, this past March. And I definitely, in my head at the time, I wasn't telling myself I was moving there. It was kind of just a temporary, just a short trip, just to kind of write some songs. I had a few writing sessions lined up, and I just found out that LA is just a really great place to write a record, you know? It's like, it's so relaxed out here. There's so many times that I've been in a studio environment it almost feels like you're in a cave and you're like hibernating down there, but here it's like, you're in like lush environments.
You still living in Mount Washington, is it?
No, I'm not.
You moved out of your treehouse?
Moved out of the treehouse. Nature sort of naturally pushed me out of the treehouse.
It like blew over
between the termites. It's more of a raccoon brothel now. So yeah, I'm not living in the hills anymore, although I do miss it up there. It's really peaceful.
Your music was definitely more sort of folk when you were younger and playing in Michigan. Did moving to Los Angeles influence your sound, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think moving to Los Angeles definitely influenced my sound. I think every environment that I made music in, the environment kind of made me write and think and sing a different way. And just living up in the hills in LA, I was totally writing differently. On my first EP, everything had this like, almost sounded like a cry out in the canyons. Like I had this very echoey, kind of reverbed out sound to it, lots of like lush harmonies. I think those are just built into the environment here, you know, you get it from like the Beach Boys, you know, like this is the environment that they made those records in. It's hard not to let like California really influence your sound like that, you know. My vocal inspirations are just a lot of music I grew up listening to. My folks played a lot of like jazz records, a lot of female jazz singers like Billie Holiday and Julie London. I just really like the tender side of their voice. But I'm also inspired by like Robert Plant and just kind of that rock and roll war cry kind of thing, you know?
The event that you're performing at tonight, it's definitely a diverse crowd. Like, you know, are you excited to see like how your act lines up to Pia Mia, to Ray Strummer? Yeah,
it's a super diverse stage. I guess you have like the singer-songwriter and like rap group, and yeah, it's definitely like a mix. I played a show at Fader Fort and at CMJ with Ray Shremmerd, and they put on a hell of a show. They like brought the house down there, and I think there was a lot of their fans in the audience when we performed, but it's still our music, my music translated to their fans too, so that was cool. It's not really a lineup that you would like normally see, so I think that's cool.
You got great response on your EP. So what have you been working on since? I know you've been touring. You did the Bleachers and Charlie XCX tour. Is that done yet? Or
yeah. Just finished that, actually. Cool. Just got off the road with them. That was fun. Those guys are a lot of fun to tour with, and they put on a very energetic show for sure. So definitely had to like step it up every night, you know. But yeah, this past year has just been kind of between being on the road and making this record. So anytime that I had back in LA, I was just like in the studio and trying to get the record done. And it's called Dopamine, and the whole album is kind of about a chemical connection to another person, you know. It's weird, like I feel like those are two completely different sides of me. Like it's a very extroverted side and a very introverted side. And normally I'm like either in studio mode or I'm in performing mode, but I feel like being on the road while making a record makes you think about writing a record for a live show, which is not what I did for the EP. The EP I was like, oh yeah, I can track these vocals, you know, like I can cut it up and do it piece by piece. I can do all these harmonies. I wasn't thinking about the live show. And this record I wrote very catered to the live show and thinking about, okay, I'm gonna be playing guitar and singing on the song, and I try to record the songs like all the way through vocally, so I know I could, you know, sing them all the way through. it's very easy in the studio to get a little overzealous with your vocal takes.
Right.
Be like, I can do it over and over, you know? I can sing at the top of my range in this whole song.
Perfect.
But when you're doing it every night on the road, it's like pretty intense. So, not to say that I think I definitely challenged myself in some of these songs, but I like a challenge.
For fans of your EP, what can they expect to hear from the album?
The album is very inspired by kind of like an homage to some classic songwriting and melodies and stuff that I really like Frankie Valli and the Beach Boys and the Bee Gees. I know we were just talking about this, but it's inspired by, like, I had a bunch of these, stack of these old Playboys at the studio, like 60s and 70s Playboys, and just the way that just the language in those is very like poetic, but it's very sexy, and I think there's a very classic kind of poetic sexiness to it that I kind of incorporated in the lyrics. And just the mood.
Is the set done? I mean, do you have the songs finished at least?
Yeah, all the songs are done. Everything's tracked. Everything's just being mixed and mastered right now.
Oh, wow.
So.
Are we going to see it this year or probably sometime next year?
Very soon, October 16th.